I have something important to say, so do not skip in this video. In the first minute, I'm just gonna tell you the very important thing, and then we're gonna talk about the tier list and all. The scammer that is on my YouTube channel has gone to the HellsDevil Plus channel as well. And just very quickly, don't give money to people online randomly. That's a scammer. He's gonna try to get you on Telegram. I don't even have Telegram, okay? He's gonna ask you for money. For $100, $200, and then he's gonna pretend like he's gonna send you a PlayStation 5. And if that isn't obviously a scam, just please, I'm telling you right now, do not do that, okay? I will never ask you for money. Obviously, unless I'm coaching you, which is a transaction that's completely different. Just keep your money in your pocket. Do not get scammed. I am unable to ban him properly because YouTube system sucks. That's just a quick announcement. I'm sorry that you had to deal with it, but don't get scammed, okay? I don't have Telegram. It's a scammer. So, tier list, baby. So much has changed. It's ridiculous. Like, I believe the last tier list I made was when Heartsteel just got released and when Set was, you know, broken. And now we're like a month later, and we're gonna start off with Set. By the way, timestamps in the description to just see the tier lists, and if you don't want to hear all the yapping that I'm about to do. But if you do want to hear it, then yeah, let's get started. So Set, I can't give you like an actual answer as to why I've brought him down from broken tier to S+, because he did get nerfed. However, the nerf is not necessarily the reason that I've brought him down, because the nerf is really not that big. His second ability just doesn't max out as far anymore. But the main reason that I've brought him down is because I honestly feel like people have learned how to counter Set. And Set is not a champion like Evelyn, for example, where there simply is no counter, you know? I mean, now there is, but you guys remember Evelyn back in the days when there was no control ward, no Crown of the Shattered Queen, you know? So even if you sort of know how to play against it, you're still not gonna be able to, she's still gonna one-shot you. But Set, he's a visible champion, he's a tank, and there are counters to it, right? Like you can pick sustained damage champions, and there's a lot of different ways you can play against with the counter him. He's still extremely good, don't get me wrong, and very, very close to the broken tier. But because like I feel like people have genuinely learned how to play against Set now, I've put him in the top of the S+ tier rather than the broken tier. Next up we got Ornn. Ornn, I would compare with Set. His ultimate is so powerful, and the thing about Ornn is, Ornn can take care of tanks as well, just like Set can really, because of his second ability and his ultimate. He has that brittle passive that does damage based on maximum HP. And then of course, that beautiful passive of his is ridiculously strong if used correctly. Let's say you're playing Baron lane Ornn and your jungler is like 5-on-0. Your Lee Sin jungle is 5-on-0. If you build an item next to that Lee Sin, you give him 5 items out of the base, he's gonna snowball the hell out of this game. Or let's say your ADC is doing very well, your Draven ADC. You give him the 5 items, he's gonna stay in lane, he's gonna roll over the enemies because he can buy items right after he gets a kill in lane. You know what I mean? So if you can properly use that passive, he's ridiculously powerful. Next up we got my boy Urgot, and I made an Urgot video yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, yes. And for the non-believers, I'm pretty sure only the non-believers have not watched the Urgot video yet. Because contrary to Set, you know, to Set his nerfs didn't really matter. The buffs to Urgot definitely do matter. He's so strong, he's ridiculously strong. He's the strongest level 1 champion in the game right now. Even stronger than Riven. Am I really? Yes, he's even stronger than Riven. Unbelievable. And then late game he becomes super tanky. You just have to play him correctly. Watch my Urgot video yesterday if you haven't already. He's super broken right now. He's super duper powerful. Next up is Vladimir. It's a bit of a boring story, Vladimir, so I'm just gonna skip it. Vladimir, broken, blah blah blah. Big healing, big damage, second ability invisible, blah blah blah. Next up is Darius. And Darius is a bit of a hidden pick, I would say. And the reason that I'm saying that Darius is extremely powerful is because he is. But why is he so powerful? He's a bit draft reliant, but Darius counters this tank meta so well. You know, like when you have these enemies that have Heartsteel, they're trying to wander around you for like an extended period to proc the Heartsteel, right? What does Darius want? You guys answer me. What does Darius want? He wants people wandering around him. He wants to hook them in. He doesn't care about them proccing their heartsteel, because in the meantime, he's gonna have like 4 stacks of his passive already, and then just as you're about to proc your heartsteel on Darius, he's gonna get his 5th stack, use his first ability, flash into the enemy backline, and nuke everyone. So that's the idea of Darius. He's extremely powerful right now because of that one reason. So he's not necessarily powerful. He just counters the meta. He counters the exact playstyle this meta is suggesting. And Gwen honestly does the same, but in a different way. Gwen just counters tanks, and Gwen wants to be close to tanks too. And if an enemy tank gets close to Gwen to proc the heartsteel, Gwen is always gonna outrate him. And while you will give heartsteel stack to the enemy, you're gonna half-life that enemy in the meantime, and you're just gonna demolish them. So that's also the reason. Same story for Camille. Camille with her true damage absolutely hard counters the tank meta, and she's also good against the really strong ADCs in this meta. So it goes a little bit deeper than just counters the tanks. Because when we move to the ADC tier list, you're gonna see 2 ADCs that are very, very high up, which is actually 3 of them, and all 3 get countered by Camille, which is Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Lucian. All 3 ADCs are very, very mobile. You know, contrary to someone like Jinx, for example, Jinx would be very good into Camille, because if Camille ults the Jinx, Jinx can put down the root and walk around her own route. You know what I mean? So like as a Camille, you're gonna have to walk into the route. And Tristana can push Camille out of the ultimate. But I'm talking about the 3 best ADCs right now. I'm already spoiling the ADC tier list, but that's fine. I'll talk about why further. She counters all those ADCs. So as I said, it goes a little bit further than just counters the meta, counters the tanks. She literally counters all the top ADC champions. I'm talking about Camille. About Aatrox, I feel he's a bit overrated. He's okay. Definitely S+ tier. But honestly, I feel like he's a bit overrated. He doesn't really do well into those tanks that have heartsteel. Like Sett destroys Aatrox. Ornn destroys Aatrox. Urgot would do well against Aatrox, you know what I mean? Darius does well against Aatrox. Garen, all these tanky champions, Volibear even, like all these champions will do well against Aatrox, and you're just not really gonna be able to punish enemies as much when you play Aatrox anymore. Because the enemies are just not as squishy anymore. You cannot really one-shot them. Because the way people would play Aatrox is they would go for sort of a lethality, mixed lethality tank build, but it just doesn't work that well anymore. Sion, he's fine. Riot sort of fixed matchmaking where if you play absolute inting Sion, it doesn't work as well anymore. So even though Sion is still good, he's not broken tier anymore because inting Sion, like as in, I'm saying inting Sion, you have normal inting Sion and you have genuine inting Sion, you know, the one where you just don't want any kills. This one doesn't really work anymore because Riot did like a hotfix on this type of matchmaking. So this, not a hotfix, just a fix. It doesn't work anymore. So normal inting Sion is the only thing that's left. Is still S+ tier, but bottom S+ tier. Garen is fine. He's just, I mean, there's really nothing special about Garen. He's Garen, so he's Garen, yes. Oh, by the way, guys, I am giving away 5 skins. And all you have to do is put down a comment under this video. I'm not giving away a PS5. Okay, I'm repeating, I am not. I am simply giving away skins. And I don't need your money. You'll get them completely for free. Okay? So, yet again, don't fall for the scam. Also, check out the HellsDevil Plus channel, guys. I don't know if I've said it already. I upload live gameplay on that channel. So make sure you check it out. Link is going to be in the description. Or you can look it up, HellsDevil Plus, and you'll see my second channel. You'll see the yellow thumbnails. That's from the HellsDevil Plus channel. So, Yone is a very interesting one. Yone Baron lane is actually stronger than in the mid lane because you can simply build a Blade of the Noon King and beat all of the tanks that I mentioned. Like, he beats all of the... Wait, where's Mundo? I forgot to put Mundo. What the hell? Wait, where is Mundo? Oh my god. I was like, I'm missing something. Mundo would be sitting here. I knew something was missing because Mundo was missing. So yeah, Mundo is right after Sett. He's not as strong as Sett. His nerfs don't matter, by the way. They nerfed him, but they really don't matter. I got some people telling me, but Hells, it went from 7% to 5%. If you know mathematics, that's like a 30% nerf. It is a 30% nerf to the scaling, but they nerfed the wrong part of him. They didn't nerf the attack damage that he gets. They didn't nerf all of that. They are not nerfing the damage that the Heartsteel does with Mundo. You're still gonna pretty much one-shot people with Mundo. It's just gonna do a little bit less damage, but yet again, high S+ tier the Mundo. Varus top, baby. If you have not watched the Varus tank video, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you've watched it, then you know what I'm talking about. Tank Varus works in top lane as well. Varus has percentage HP damage, so he will beat any tank. And Varus cannot get assassinated with the tank build, because you're super tanky. I'm not gonna fully elaborate why. You can watch my tank Varus video on this one. I really suggest you do so. So Yasuo, tank Yasuo, boring story again. Tank Yasuo is very, very good, blah, 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 blah. Renekton got buffed, and honestly, I didn't think it would have been a significant buff. They buffed his, they buffed the HP his ultimate gives him. But honestly, after that buff, I've probably died like 3 or 4 times to an enemy Renekton, and he was at 1 HP. And that happened because of the ultimate buff. I don't know why, but the seemingly small buff is actually quite massive in my opinion, because him getting more HPS during his ultimate allows him to do more damage because he's alive for longer, and for some reason it just makes him so much tankier. It's crazy. He gets so much HP when he activates his ultimate, so he's very, very powerful right now. Jax is still one of the best split pushers, works very well into the tank meta. You can build Divine Sunderer, Bladed Rune King, Riftmaker, and no, none of these tanks or even bruisers can 1v1 you. Fiora, I would say a bit of a weaker Jax, but Fiora is a bit stronger early mid game in those 1v1 situations, but I don't really like Fiora as much anymore. AP Gragas has risen just a bit, you know, not too much, just a bit. I'm gonna go a little bit faster through them right now because otherwise we're gonna be sitting here for 2 hours. Teemo is good. He beats all of those tanks as well. And Tank Teemo is a video I do need to be making sometime soon. Someone else interesting to talk about. Kill is quite good too. Although you want to be careful of the type. Like, you don't want to pick Kill into Set. Set is going to demolish you in lane. But Kill is just always a nice and safe champion that can do well. Talon is absolutely useless. Don't pick Talon right now. Pretty sure Talon is going to get hotfixed sometime soon. And when that happens, you know, he's obviously going to rank up a little bit higher. But as of now, Talon is just completely and utterly useless. Let's move on to the jungle tier list. And as you can see, there is still no champion in the broken tier, because I don't feel like there should be. And talking about the S+ tier, Kha'Zix is still rated as the best, which is very, very funny because we are in a tank meta. Kha'Zix is not a tank counter, but he's still S+ tier. He's still the best jungler in the game. And that's because even though there are tanks, he can still one-shot the backline. And then after that, he's still gonna take care of the tanks, because he will win that 1v1 battle. So the stupid cockroach is still on top again. Kayn on second place. And you may be wondering, right? Like, Blue Kayn, what? Blue Kayn is not good right now. That's true. I'm not talking about Blue Kayn, guys. I'm talking about Red Kayn. I'm pretty disappointed in myself for still not bringing out that video. I've played like 30 games of Red Kayn, but I only got 1 gameplay. I want a second one to give you guys. So bear with me. You'll get this one. You'll get it. You know what? No, wait, no. I'm not gonna give the like goal for this one because I want to have enough time to do this. Okay. Lee Sin is very, very powerful too, because of his invading power and just his overall strength, really. He's so powerful. All the way since that buff to all of his abilities, he has been extremely powerful throughout all of the patches after that. Even in this tank meta, really. He just one-shots anyone except for a tank, of course. But even into the tank meta, the highly skilled Lee Sin player is going to be able to push the tank with the ultimate in the middle of the enemy team, and you're going to one-shot everyone. It's ridiculously powerful. And also Evelynn, also a champion that doesn't work into tanks, is on top of the S+ tiers. It's pretty funny now, isn't it? Like, all of these champions that are not good against tanks are still in the S+ tier because of how stupidly strong they are. Evelynn, with all of the counters, you know, we have Crown of the Shattered Queen, we have Jhin with his traps, we have Teemo mushrooms, we have Red Ward, the control wards, everything, you know, everything to counter, but still, she is so damn powerful. And the thing with Evelynn is, it's just so easy. It's so easy to play this champion. It's in my opinion, the easiest jungler to play in the game, by far. You just become invisible, you avoid control wards, and you use your third ability, first ability, ultimate, and you kill people. Just watch my Evelynn videos, you'll see. Next up is Mundo Jungle, which also is extremely powerful. He has quite a fast jungle clear. Not the best gank, but still good enough. But the good thing is he beats everyone in a 1v1 early mid game. Everyone just gets beaten by Mundo. Once you reach level 5, you're never gonna beat Mundo. Like, you think Kha'Zix is gonna beat Mundo? You think, I mean, Red Kayn can beat Mundo, but in the early game, you're not gonna have the red unlocked yet, right? So that's the beauty of Mundo, really. Riven jungle, very, very strong as well. Although actually a bit overrated. I'm not sure why I put her here. She should actually be here. Riven jungle is very, very good. Not broken, but just very, very good. She does get 1v1 by, you know, by some of the junglers. But the good thing about Riven is she has the strongest level 1 out of any jungler in the game. So she can actually invade. And if she gets invaded, she'll just counter the enemy and beat them anyways. So that's the beauty of Riven. You're very, very strong. And she has one of the best turret diving and one of the highest skill ceilings as well. If you're a very good player, Riven is the perfect champion for you. Aatrox is similar to Riven, but Aatrox is stronger. His ultimate giga buffs this Aatrox and he just gives you so much damage for a short duration. And the difference between Aatrox and Riven is when you get a takedown as an Aatrox, your ultimate extends. So you're gonna be super buffed for a really long duration compared to Riven where it's like a set duration even if you get kills and whatnot. So Aatrox is very, very powerful. Volibear jungle, one of the tankiest junglers, the single best turret diving jungler by the way, because of his ultimate. And he just does so much damage while being hella tanky. Extremely strong champion. Very, very strong champion in the game right now. And Camille, also very, very powerful. The good thing about Camille jungle is you can just farm. And then whenever you have your ultimate, you gank with your ult and then you go back to farming. And then you just get to the late game and absolutely 1v9 the game. The weakness of Camille is when she doesn't have ult, she's a bit useless early mid game. But that's the thing, you're gonna farm during that downtime. You're just gonna gank whenever you have your ultimate, get a free kill, because enemies literally cannot get out of your ultimate. And then after that, you just go back to farming, and you'll be fine. Similarly, Shyvana, you just ult when you ult, and you farm when you don't have ult. And she's very strong, although not as strong as Camille, but she's just very strong. If you're able to get 400 stacks, especially 300 stacks, the 300 stack mark where it gives you true damage on your third ability, that's when she actually becomes strong. She'll destroy, she'll decimate all of the tanks she's facing. Next up is Pantheon. Pantheon has always been S+ tier in my tier list, but this tank meta has actually dropped Pantheon. You know, Pantheon one-shots squishies, and he doesn't one-shot tanks. Like, he just doesn't. And the anti-tank build where you go Black Cleaver, Blade of the Doom King, etc. is just not as powerful as, you know, the one-shotting build. So, he's still good, and the one-shot build still works very well. But like a Mundo, a Volibear, a Red Kayn, you know, all of these champions are just not gonna get one-shot by the one-shotting build of Pantheon. Next up is Hecarim. Very versatile, you know, you can build him against squishies, you can build him against tanks. He's just overall very, very good. One of the best ganks in the game, one of the best objective steals in the game because he can fear everyone away and just smite objectives. Very, very strong champion overall. He can run away easily because he's so fast. Just overall very powerful. Zed jungle, not for the weak players. This is a chat champion, and I love playing Zed jungle. He has a very fast jungle clear, very good gank, just like Camille basically. Whenever you have your ultimate, you can gank, and then in the mid-late game, you're just gonna do so much damage with your little combos, and you can one-shot squishes like crazy. Even tanks you can do pretty well against because you can get a Black Cleaver, Suyota's Grudge, and use your abilities, and then your ultimate is gonna do post-mitigation damage. No, pre-mitigation damage. I'm sorry. Pre-mitigation damage. So, and then when you stack up your Black Cleaver, the pre-mitigation damage is going to become huge afterwards. So you're just going to explode tanks just as you're going to explode squishies. So if you didn't understand what the hell I was talking about, that's fine. Basically, he counters squishies and he does really well into low mobility tanks as well if you get a Black Cleaver. Vi jungle counters tanks as well, very good ganking, very strong, and in the late game very tanky herself as well. Yone jungle, very highly skilled champion, but also works very well. Here comes a controversial one, kill jungle. I keep preaching about kill jungle because even though kill jungle, if you put perfect AI robots against each other, kill jungle is never ever gonna be picked because the perfect AI is always gonna invade the kill. But we humans are not perfect AI, and especially the humans in Wild Rift with the current matchmaking are most definitely not. Probably not even dumb AIs. They're even below that level. So yeah, people are not gonna invade you. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Of course, 1 out of 6, 7 games, you're still gonna get invaded, which is gonna be very rough. But all of those other games, you can just farm your jungle for free, get to the late game, and just 1v9 the games when you play Kill. That's exactly how it's gonna go. Kill is even, like, contrary to popular belief, Kill is actually very good at ganking. Because you or your teammate can just dive the turret, and then Kill is gonna ult that teammate, and you can tank 2 more turret shots with the Kill ultimate. So, very, very good. Fiddlesticks is extremely strong as well. He does get counted by the Crown of the Shattered Queens, however, but besides that, he just one-shots people with his ultimate. He does crazy damage, and the beauty of his ult is it's not single target, it's a massive AoE ultimate, and it's like an absolute, you're dropping a nuke on the enemy. It's ridiculously powerful. Anyone else that I want to talk about? Tryndamere is good, Diana jungle is good, Rammus is good, Nunu is good, Xin Zhao is good. Morgana jungle is a bit underwhelming, but good. Twitch jungle sucks right now. I mean, he's fine, but it's like, it's really not that good. You're gonna need to go for Blade of the Rune King in the current meta, which is really not an item you want to go on Twitch, but he's fine. Nyla jungle has dropped as well. Because early game she sucks, mid game she sucks, late game she's strong, but even in the late game she cannot 1v1 Set and Mundo. Because they're so tanky, she just can't 1v1 them, which is ridiculous, because that's the whole point of Nyla. In the late game she becomes unbeatable, right? But she just can't. She can't even 1v1 a Mundo in the late game. So yeah, that has dropped her very, very low for me. And yet again, Talon is useless. Do not pick Talon. He's 100% gonna get hotfixed because of how useless he is. Next up is the mid lane. And finally we get a broken tier champion, which is Syndra. I've been thinking about this one for quite a while, but I've put her in the broken tier. And that's because her balls just hurt a little bit too much. What can I say? Her balls hurt a little bit too much. Especially when she smashes one on your face, you know, with that third ability. The stun is actually so long, and it allows her to just combo everything on top of you and then hit all of her balls on your face multiple times with her ultimate. So it's not for the faint-hearted people. It's also not for the faint-balled people. You know what I mean? So she's extremely powerful. That's what I'm saying. She can stack up her balls, and then when she stacks up her balls, she's gonna get a lot of damage. And then those balls were, you know, they're gonna hurt a lot. They're just gonna hurt a lot, and honestly, I just can't deal with those balls anymore. You know, it's a little bit too much. So definitely in the broken tier, she's gonna break your balls. Next up, we got Akali. I'm sorry, I'm very thirsty. Stay hydrated, by the way. Akali is very strong too. She got buffed. Her passive got buffed, which is actually a significant buff. It does a lot of damage. But Akali needs high skill to work well. But if you got it, now is the patch to play it. She can take care of tanks, and she absolutely one-shots squishies. Like, squishies have no chance against Akali. Aurelion Sol. He got nerfed, but still S+ tier. So damn powerful, this champion. And if you pick him into the right draft, which is like low mobility, tankier type of champions, they will never reach you. Because you get a Rylai's Scepter, you have an ultimate to stun them, you have a black hole to pull them in. They will just not reach you. So this champion is just super powerful right now. You can stack up and just absolutely demolish people, even after the nerfs. Next up is Khazadin. Khazadin doesn't do that well into tanks, but he's so powerful that it doesn't really matter. You can just assassinate the squishies, and then after that you can still destroy the tanks. It's not like he cannot actually kill them, it's just he cannot assassinate them, he cannot one-shot them. But as I said, it's completely fun. If you're a good Khazadin, you can just assassinate the enemy backline. I made a Khazadin video the other day as well. Just look up HellsDevil Khazadin and check for the video that I uploaded a couple days ago. You'll see. He's very powerful. Next up is Vladimir. Fun fact, by the way, Khazadin hard counters Vladimir, so if you ever look for a counter to Vladimir and you have no idea what to pick, Khazadin counters him. Why, you may ask? Is because Khazadin can silence Vladimir and absolutely one-shot him. You can silence him, ignite him, ult on him, second ability, third ability, he will one-shot him. So Vladimir cannot even go into his second ability. He cannot avoid it. That's just an answer to why Khazadin counters Vladimir. Also, after Vladimir comes out of his second ability, Khazadin can jump on him and one-shot him too. So for that reason, you never want to pick Vladimir. You never want to pick Vladimir into Khazadin, because Khazadin destroys Vladimir. But besides that, Vladimir is very powerful, so powerful. Just He can just keep healing up in lane, and when you reach the mid-late game, when you get to Cosmic Drive, you can spam your abilities and it's just game over, really. You can just carry the game like crazy. Lucian mid lane, very oppressive mid laner. He can be extremely aggressive. He can beat everyone in the mid lane. The only thing he would struggle against a little bit is like long-range champions like Twisted Fate, like Orianna, like Syndra. You know, you don't really want to pick him into those types of champions. But if you're against a Khazrin, for example, if you're against an Akali, if you're against Zed, if you're against a Yasuo, Katarina, all of those champions, you're gonna run them over with Lucian. You're gonna run them down. They have no chance to even play their lane. So in that case, you can pick Lucian and just destroy the enemy. Zoe doesn't work at all in the tank meta, but it's Zoe. I mean, she's hella strong. She's hella strong. She can still one-shot squishes like crazy. And yeah, it's just Zoe. Next up is Zed. Zed cannot one-shot squishes as well as Zoe, because Zoe can do it like every 3 seconds. Zed can do it like every 20 seconds late game. But the good thing about Zed is Zed can actually somewhat take care of tanks as well. And I told you why before, you know, because of the Black Cleaver, blah, blah, blah. Next up is Katarina. Katarina got buffed, guys. And it's actually quite a decent buff. Because she was already not bad. And now she's even stronger. S plus tier. Definitely S plus tier. But I do want to say, you want to pick her with the right composition. You need some sort of engage. And then you follow up as the Katarina and just kill everyone. So that's a little bit of the story of how to play Katarina right now. But she's very good. Twisted Fate, extremely powerful too, because of that stun of his, right? His stunning card is so damn good. And his ultimate as well, you know, you can gank lanes, but something underrated about the ultimate as well is it will take away all of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, all of the Edge of Knights of the enemies. And while it will not reveal them when you do that, you don't have to deal with those shields anymore. So like right before the fight starts, you can simply use your Twisted Fate ultimate. And even though you're not going to reveal everyone, you're going to take away all of their shields, which lets your team just one-shot them. So if the enemies feel safe behind their shields, they are not, because you're Twisted Fate. You simply click on your ultimate and you take away all of their shields. Yasuo mid lane, very, very powerful too. Whether you go tank, whether you go full damage, both of them are very, very good. He just works very well in the mid lane. Lux mid lane, guys. This is the one-shotting champion that has been infuriating me so much. I do prefer her in the support role. Wait, did I forget to put her in the support role? I think I didn't put her in the right... Oh, no, I didn't. I just completely... Never mind. So yeah, Lux mid lane, very strong. She just one-shots you. Thing about Lux is, if she catches you in the late game, you're just dead. You're gonna have to stasis. And if you don't have stasis, you're just dead. There is nothing else to do. You're just dead. And Irelia, very good, but... I don't know. Irelia is not really able to beat the tank meta, because if she jumps on a tank with Heartsteel, the tank is just gonna proc Heartsteel on her and she's not gonna beat that tank. She's just not gonna beat it. Even if she goes Bladed on King Divine Sunder, she's still not gonna beat most tanks. I mean, she's gonna beat them early mid game, but late game she has no chance. A champion that does have chance in the late game is Orianna, guys. This is a champion that does well into tanks. You can just incorporate a Leandris in your build when you play Orianna, and tanks have no chance against you. And even squishies, they cannot even get close to you because your balls are going to hurt them way too much. Next up is Diana. Diana is very good. Full AP Diana can still one-shot champions, but she gets countered by those tanks, which is why I've brought her down from the S plus tier to the S tier. Yone mid lane, not as good as the Baron lane, still very good, but he can get bullied by those ranged type of champions in the mid lane, contrary to the Baron lane, where he can bully himself. Just not the best champion in the mid lane. But still very good, sorry. Next up is Ziggs. I don't really like Ziggs in the current meta. He's like, you want to pick Ziggs into squishy backline champions because his bombs can just nuke them you know, you can nuke them from your backline while they are in their backline, right? Because that's how much range Ziggs has. The good thing is he can damage front lines as well, but it's like, they can just run you down. They can just ignore your damage and just keep going into your team. And you don't have that much sustained damage. Ziggs is all about poking. And you're gonna need sustained damage to take care of the tanks. And he does have sustained damage. He can keep poking, right? So at the end of the day, it is sustained damage, but it's just not as much as some of the other champions have. Ezreal mid lane is a bit different. You can play it in multiple different ways. You can go for like a mixed tank build in the mid lane. You can go for full AP. By the way, A full AP Ezreal video is gonna be coming out on the HellsDevil Plus channel very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe to the HellsDevil Plus channel to see that one. But you can also play normal Ezreal in the mid lane. All of that works. He's very strong at level 1 against most mid laners. He's just a very good pick. And Cannon mid lane, I believe this has the highest win rate in China, but I don't really take that too much into consideration when making these tier lists, because the players in China are built different. Like, they're really, really good. But mid lane Cannon is very good because of the ganking, basically. You can gank around with your ultimate, and then of course in the late game his ult is very, very powerful. But it's mainly about you laning safely. And then whenever you have your ultimate, you just gank. You gank bot lane, you gank top lane, and it's one of the strongest ganks in the game, basically. Next up is Veigar. Veigar does really well into the tank meta too, because he can stack up his stacks so well on the tanks, because they'll try to face tank him, which they can do early mid game, but in the late game you're gonna one-shot even tanks because of how much AP you're gonna get. Morgana mid is surprisingly strong, yet again, because she counters the tanks. Early game she's gonna struggle a little bit, but once you reach the mid-late game, when you get some items, she's gonna be such a team-fighting menace with her ultimate, with her second ability, with that stupid root, and even the black shield. So like, she can black shield herself or an important target of her team. Swain as well, he's so tanky, he can go heartsteel. I do suggest you to pick Swain into a melee champion, however, just so you can stack up the heartsteel a little bit better. So like, pick him into like Kazarin, into Akali, Irelia, Diana, you know, those types of champions. You can stack up heartsteel, and you're gonna be sitting at like 5, 6, 7,000 HP in the later stages of the game. Any mid, not very good. You should only really pick her against squishies. Even then, she's just really not that good. Because of the existence of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, it just completely negates Annie's engage. It's just really not that good. Ahri, on the other hand, is okay, but she's still, I don't know, she just, like, she tickles tanks. At least Annie has like a big all-in, but Ahri, I don't know, Ahri just feels extremely weak right now. Brand is stronger than both of them. I'm not sure why I've put Brand over here. Brand should be here, because Brand is a very good pick into the tanks, like very, very strong pick into the tanks. He just feels a bit underwhelming overall. I don't know why, but it's just, it's like, he doesn't feel that strong. But the thing is, in the late game, even if he's about to get one shot, he can simply throw his ultimate and he'll half-life an entire enemy team just with his ultimate, because of how much damage the explosions are gonna do. And then the burning as well, right? Echo mid is okay, but not that good. Anyone interesting that deserves talking about? Oh, don't pick Kill mid lane. Absolute horrible. Pick her in the Baron lane and in the jungle, never mid lane. Because in the mid lane, you want to have a champion that can rotate and apply pressure and push waves. Kill cannot do that, so never pick Kill in the mid lane, please. My music stopped, by the way. What the hell? I don't want to listen to this guy, by the way, so let me just put it here. Alright. Next up is the Dragon lane. This one is not going to be that long because there's not that many champions, but we got Kai'Sa in the top and that's because you can play AD Kai'Sa, AP Kai'Sa, it doesn't really matter. She takes care of tanks. If a tank wants to face tank Kai'Sa, that ain't gonna work, because she does percentage HP damage, so that's just not gonna work. And squishies are gonna get one shot by Kai'Sa too. The only weakness Kai'Sa has is her sort of short range, you could say, but there are no real strong long range champions in the game. Like, you have Ashe, you have Caitlyn. Okay, Syndra is probably the only one. Like, Syndra would be a very good pick into Kai'Sa, but besides that, Kai'Sa is not really gonna struggle with her range at all. Kai'Sa also counters the mid lane assassins, you know, the Katarinas, the Akalis that are likely gonna get picked in this meta. So it actually indirectly boosted the power of Kai'Sa as well, you know, just because those champions got a little bit stronger in this patch as well. Lucian, also nearly broken tier, I would say. He was barely not in the broken tier, but high up in the S+ tier. So damn powerful. He can kill tanks, he can kill squishes, he's the most mobile ADC in the game. You go for an Navori quick read, you're never gonna get caught, you can just keep running. And they even buffed him. It's not that big of a buff, but he can just use his second ability a little bit more often now, which, especially in the late game, it has a 1.5 second lower cooldown in the late game. It's pretty huge actually. So like, early game you're not gonna feel it, but like level 15, he's stronger. He can just use his abilities more often. Varus, guys. Oh my god. I'm not talking about tank Varus here because this is Dragon Lane. I'm talking about lethality Varus and sort of a mixed build, like a Again, I have a video on HellsDevil Plus exactly about which build I'm talking about. It's like an Essence Reefer build plus like a mix. It's not only true damage, it's a mix. Again, you need to check out that video on my second channel, HellsDevil Plus, link in the description, to know what I'm talking about. But like there's multiple AD builds you can go. I want to warn you, by the way, never build AP Varus. It sucks. They nerfed it to the ground. It's not worth to go AP Varus. It is only perhaps worth it to go for a Rift Maker as an addition to your AD build. Next up is Ezreal, very highly skilled champion, but if played correctly, S+ tier. So powerful in this current patch. He doesn't struggle at all against the tanks. You just build accordingly, you go for a Bladed Rune King and Ceruta's Grudge, and they are not a problem at all. Tristana also very good. And you know why tanks are not a problem for Tristana? Because in the late game, you're going to have so much range. So if a tank is going to try to face tank you, you're going to put your third ability on that tank, use your first ability, and basically get 6 lethal tempo stacks for free. And then the fight is going to start. The enemy ADC is not going to have anything with his runes. And you're going to be there like a big-ass machine gun shooting on the enemy. And I don't care how tanky the enemy tank is. They're gonna die to a 6 lethal tempo stacked Tristana that is using her third ability on you as well. It's just not, you can just not tank it. And for the expert Tristana players as well, they can even ult you the tank in the middle of the enemy team and explode the third ability and just do massive AoE damage to everyone. Next up is Zeri. Zeri is very good as well, and she's very versatile because she has like an anti-squishy build and an anti-tank build. But the thing with Zeri is she needs to reach late game. Her early mid game, she gets hard countered by those tanks, but late game, whoo, she's gonna destroy them. But the good thing about Zeri as well, she counters a lot of enchanters. Because a lot of enchanters give shielding, right? Like Sona, Karma, Janna, all of these enchanters, Lulu, they give so much shielding. And of course, Zeri is simply gonna steal that shield. So she's very good into that type of stuff. She also hard counters Sett for the same reason. She can steal his shield. So when you pick Zeri, I would be on the lookout for enemy shields. If they have a lot of shields, pick Zeri and just steal their shields. Xayah, very strong. Again, I made a Xayah video on the HellsDevil Plus channel too. I have so many cool videos on that channel. Check it out if you want to. Xayah is very good into those tanks as well because she can just like Tristana really, she can stack on them, but for a different reason. With Xayah, you can use your second ability, which gives you attack speed and movement speed. You can just juke them backwards and keep basic attacking them until you get 6 lethal tempo stacks, and then the fight is already over. You know what I mean? You're just gonna have 6 lethal tempo stacks. You're gonna be having double the damage output, and it's just game over for the enemies. Next up is Jhin. And also, Jhin doesn't do that well into the tank meta. But he's still S tier. He's still S tier. It's just, he's so strong. He's so strong. And even tanks, if you're a little bit ahead, you can destroy tanks as well as the squishies. And even the tanks, even though you cannot properly damage them down, Jhin can still easily root the tanks for a really long duration with his second ability, right? Like an enemy tank is probably gonna walk up to you. He wants to face tank you. You can stop him with your root. And then all of your teammates can collapse on that tank, and at the end of the day, it's still a champion that can die, right? So they're still gonna die. So that's the beauty of Jhin. Caitlyn is not that good anymore because the problem is she can also not really take care of the tanks. However, similarly to Jhin, she can also stop the tanks from engaging with her traps and with her third ability. Samira got buffed. It's actually a pretty massive buff. But you do need to combine her with like a Thresh or an Alistar or a Pyke or something like that. Her ultimate, if you're able to pop it in the middle of the enemy, it will one-shot them. It does so much damage now. It's ridiculous how strong the ultimate is right now. Twitch is not that strong. Twitch is actually so weak that he should even be like here. Vayne, you know, normally you would think Vayne should be in the broken tier because of the tanks. I'm sorry, my nose is itching, by the way, because of the weather. I don't know. But Vayne feels underwhelming. She's not that weak, but she feels underwhelming. So it's just she has no big range, and I don't know. She just doesn't fit the meta. She's also just really not that strong. You know what I mean? Even though she can take care of the tanks, she completely takes care of the tank problem, but it just You know, back in the days, Vayne would be able to 1v1 anyone. She was like a 1v1 queen. But do you really think a Vayne is gonna 1v1 Kai'Sa now? Even Varus can probably 1v1 Vayne. Hell, even Ezreal and Tristana, I'm pretty sure these champions can now 1v1 the Vayne right now, right? So she's just really not that strong. Draven, I've always rated Draven even lower than A tier, but I've put him up a little bit. Draven video is also gonna be coming on the HellsDevil Plus channel, by the way. It's a bit embarrassing video, but yeah. Draven is okay, but Draven requires a good support and requires massive balls. So if Syndra has shoved those balls down your face, you can use those balls because you need them. You need a lot of massive balls to play Draven because you gotta play extremely aggressive with Draven. And you gotta take traits that, you know, you normally would never dare to take with any other ADC. So if you can do that, then Draven is gonna be a champion designed for you. Jinx, on the other hand, is completely different. Long-range rockets, she can just play safe early game, and mid-late game with a good enchanter, she can absolutely 2v8 the game. But she does require a good enchanter. Without a good enchanter, she's not going to be that strong. Sivir is very weak. Miss Fortune, very weak as well right now. Miss Fortune just does nothing into tanks. Sivir is supposed to be pretty good into tanks, but she's not. She's not. It just doesn't work. Ashe, also really not that good. It's just not that good. It's just not that good right now. And the APCs also know. Nyla ADC never picked that stuff because you don't have much range. It's just not good, guys. Now, lastly and very quickly, we're gonna go through the support list because there's not that many champions. I'm honestly not even gonna go through the broken tier. I'm not even gonna address them. I'm just gonna go straight to the S+ tier. Thresh, very powerful. Pretty much the strongest tanky support in the game. Because of his ability to hook enemies, his ability to 1v1 ADCs early game, which is so crazy, by the way. Even in the late game, if you have enough armor and good items, you can actually 1v1 ADCs still, which no other support can really do. I mean, Alistar can maybe do that, but Thresh will just 1v1 you. But 1v1ing not in an assassination way, in a way that they're actually out-sustaining your damage. Because of course, Pyke can just assassinate an enemy ADC too. But there's no other support that can like simply 1v1 an ADC like that. Soraka, broken for a different reason, her healing, right? If you can just stay alive, heal your allies, it's just stupid. Especially combined with tanks. Imagine a Mundo walking you down while a Soraka is healing him. And if he has a Spirit Visage as well. Yeah, good luck killing that Mundo. Next up is Lux in the support role. I prefer Lux in the support role rather than in the mid lane. Because even though you're playing support, you can just get enough items, and the Magi Soulstealer is actually very good on Lux support. If you can stack it up, you're gonna one-shot people with like very minimal gold. It's ridiculously strong, like really powerful, that ultimate. It's also good because you can just ult other lanes across the map with your ult, with your laser, right? So you can just help other lanes as well. Janna, complete brain dead champion. She's like the old Sona now. I mean, not as good as the old Sona, but she's very strong right now with the shield. The tornado is very obnoxious as well. And then of course that ultimate that just keeps lingering around, even though you as a Janna can just run out of it. So she's very strong right now. And her providing movement speed to her entire team with the second ability as well, just extremely strong. Pyke, you pick Pyke if everyone is trash in your team and you just carry yourself. Honestly, that's the story of Pyke. He's very strong. Obnoxiously long stun on the third ability, by the way. They buffed his third ability stun like a couple patches ago, which in my opinion was a complete overkill because the stun is way too long. In the late game, the stun can last like, I believe like 2.7 seconds or something, which is truly like unbelievably long. It really shouldn't be that long because it scales with the armor penetration you have. Nami, just very good. Not that interesting to talk about, just very good. Varus, guess what I'm talking about? That's right, I'm talking about tank Varus support. If you've not watched the video yet, but if you have, yeah, I don't think it needs more words than that. Morgana support, very good and underrated pick. Absolutely hard counters the tanks because you go Rylai, Scepter, Liandry's, and the tanks just cannot do anything against that. You're gonna be burning their HP while slowing them pretty much permanently with your second ability. Leona support is extremely strong as well because she can dive the enemy backline She doesn't really do that well into tanks, but she can dive the enemy backline. Leona is actually also a champion, just like Thresh, that can 1v1 most ADCs. But I would say Thresh does it a little bit better than Leona. The only thing that Leona does better than Thresh is Leona has much higher range when she engages. Because her ultimate can go so far. So if you're playing against like super high range champions in the backline that needs to be caught, like Ashe, like Caitlyn, like Orianna. If you're against those types of champions, I would pick Leona over Thresh. Otherwise, Thresh is always going to be better than Leona, which is of course why he's a whole tier above her. Swain support, guys. So let me tell you why he's not broken tier, because a lot of people have told me Swain is broken. To me, it's pretty obvious why he's good, right? Because Heartsteel, his ultimate, a lot of HP, his roots in lane, it's all very good. Rylai's Scepter, AoE slow, you know, all of that, we know about that. But why is he not in the broken tier? Why is he not even in the S+ tier? Let me tell you why. Because Swain doesn't do a lot of damage. And while you're gonna slow people a lot, I want you to imagine this. You're face tanking the enemies. The enemy has a Jinx, has a Lulu Jinx. You're face tanking her. You're gonna give her very easy lethal tempo or conqueror stacks. And even though she can probably not kill you, she can then transfer those stacks to your allies and kill your allies. You know, Darius can pull you in and get his stacks. A lot of these types of champions that can just stack up on you. I would say that's the problem of Swain. Swain would work extremely well into champions that just don't have stacking. So like, I don't know, like Riven, he would be very good into that type of champion. Very good into Thresh, for example. Very good into, you know, into those types of champions. But like Sona, for example, you cannot really do anything into a Sona because she's just gonna constantly shield and heal her team. It's not gonna work that well. But besides that, he works very well into those types of champions. Yeah, let me see. Ashe support, very strong too. I'm gonna bring out a new Ashe support video, but it's gonna be a very interesting one. It's not gonna be one that you guys are used to. You can guess what it's gonna be, but you'll see. Nautilus support, good. Braum support, better than you think. And probably should be over here. Yes, he's way better than you think. Senna support, very good too. Tank Senna, normal Senna, every Senna. Karma support got nerfed a little bit, but is still very, very powerful. But she just does a little bit less damage now. Alistar is good, Zyra is good, Seraphine is good. All of them are good. And you know what's also good? This video, which is over now. So thank you very much for watching. And I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye-bye.